Alright. Level 90, an unwelcome visitor. Claudian's eyes are brimming with the excitement of discovery. Zilly, I've made a breakthrough. After uncountable days and nights, I finally hearkened to the crystal's whispers, and I must say... Professor Claudian, where are your manners? While I understand all too well your enthusiasm, I must remind you that even the most academically inclined prefer a composed recounting of events. Ah, yes, of course. My apologies. Being consumed by my research for so long, I am afraid I have quite forgotten how to engage in civilized conversation. In that case, perhaps we should start from the beginning, with the crystal set adrift upon the ethereal tides containing the memories of a party yet unknown. They cried out for deliverance from Pandæmonium, where the ancients kept volatile creations under lock and key. You yourself witnessed the power devouring the facility from within and the advent of a divine monstrosity wrought of mythic beast and powerful mage. Fortunately, your martial prowess and the combined magical talents of your companions, Themis and Erichthonius, was sufficient to restore order to the circles of Asphodelos, but the greater threat remains. The depths of Pandæmonium, a presence yet stirs, its intentions and identity shrouded in mystery. That is the issue at hand, is it not? Since you returned to us, we worked tirelessly to discern the nature of the crystal. In the process, I detected an anomalous etheric signature, which I believe arose from the memories stored within. Analysis of this pattern suggested a feeling of loss or yearning, specifically the yearning to be made whole, and indeed ambient readings have revealed a faint but identical signature. This can only mean that another such crystal exists in our time. So, my friend, I must depart to search for it forthwith by tracing the matching etheric signature to its source. I believe it will be a simple matter to find our crystal's twin. Professor, will this expedition be carried out only by us, or will Zilly grace us with her protection? I'm afraid she has more pressing matters to attend to, my dear Roussenaut, namely to seek out the secrets which lie nestled within Pandæmonium, where this all began. From all that we have heard, it appears that time traversal through the crystal tower is not fluid. That is to say, one can but travel in predetermined intervals. It would be prudent to check in on occasion in case there are any unanticipated changes. As for you, my loyal assistants, I would ask you remain here and continue cataloging the ancient creation. Can't mean, do you intend to search for the crystal on your own? Why, yes, that would be the most efficient use of resources, would it not? In fact, I have already commissioned a ship and pilot for that very purpose. I trust you take good care of the laboratory in my absence. I apologize for that somewhat abrupt departure. When progress is in sight, Professor Claudian tends to become blind to all else. Indeed, and he has been worse than usual. While I cannot fault him for his excitement, I do wish he would spare a thought for those around him. For reasons unknown, the crystal seems loath to be overheard. Much as it spoke only to you last time, none but the professor have been able to capture its ethereal yearning, which has served only to convince him that he can solve this puzzle on his own. Surely after some time alone, he'll come to remember how valuable we are. The search for this crystal seemed to be simple enough matter. Let him have his adventure, and upon his return, I'm certain he'll be back to his usual self. As for you, it may be best to return to Pandæmonium as Professor Claudian suggested. Speaking of which, I did have a request of my own to make. Traveling to Pandæmonium requires you to pass through Elpis, correct? There's something I would have you investigate in my stead. While those creations confined within Pandæmonium are considered to be failures, I doubt that's their whole story. Barring exceptional cases, they must have been under observation in Elpis before being consigned to their shackles, and if we know anything about the ancients, it's that they would have kept thorough records of the results. Ah, brilliant. Delving into these records may shed light on creatures Zilly has yet to encounter, if your theory proves correct, that is. While there are no guarantees, it certainly beats the current strategy of rushing forward blindly with only her strength to carry the day. For your own sake as well as ours, please unearth what information you can. Back to Elpis. Oh, we're playing Summoner for a couple of reasons. One, I have full gear for it. One of the few jobs I have full gear for is ranged, and I also feel that it's generally pretty good to do these kind of blindly. When I don't know mechanics. I've explained this before. Like, because I have movement and I can get some space. It's not always great, because sometimes better to be in melee, because you can move a bit quicker. But most of my melees don't have full gear, except for like Reaper. And I've been playing that a lot in other content, so I don't want all my videos to just be me playing Reaper. You seek records of Pandæmonium's creations. Master Themis has just finished perusing the very same. I should not be surprised that we both arrived at the same conclusion. Luckily, I have saved you the trouble and gleaned what information I could. Ah, so you know each other. I was dreading having to once again scour the archives, but perhaps instead I'll rest for a spell. If there's nothing else, I shall take my leave. As should we, for I have undone the warding sigil blocking the entrance to Abyssos. I came here merely to chase an idle suspicion while awaiting your return. Fortunately, while Pandæmonium's protective wards continue to be assailed by our unknown foe, there have been no fluctuations so great as to make me doubt Ericthonius' capacity to keep watch over Asphodelos while I'm away. He works diligently to master interment, that he might deliver the creations back to their cages as by his own hand. I thought it best to give him time to hone his craft. And since fate has brought us both here, I would ask you to accompany me while I attend to another matter, more idle suspicions that I would like to chase down. Rest assured, it shall not take long. I simply have a few questions to ask an acquaintance of mine. Come, he has agreed to meet us near the naos to Pandæmonium. As I had pondered our expedition into Pandæmonium, I could not help but be mystified by how strongly the warders that we encountered felt for La Habrea, whether it be for good or ill. Hesperos and Ericthonius were two sides of the same coin. The former looked to his mentor with absolute devotion, while the latter looks to his father with bald hatred. I would not expect a familiar such as you to understand this, but such extreme emotions toward a single individual are quite rare indeed. Naturally, I feel gratitude towards my mother and father, yet we are all equals in the larger picture of the star. This view is not unique to myself, it is more or less accepted as the way of things. By contrast, the researchers of Pandæmonium seem to view La Habrea with a feeling approaching obsession. Whether driven by love or hate, they have all been drawn to him. There were many other aspects of the facility's particulars I found troubling besides. I decided the best course of action would be to go straight to the source and pose my questions to a member of the Words of La Habrea. My apologies to have kept you waiting, Master Themis. I understand you are conducting an investigation of Pandæmonium and wish to know of its origins. Indeed, in particular, I wish to know why exactly Pandæmonium was built directly under Elpis. The facility is overseen by the Words of La Habrea, after all. Why keep it so close to Elpis, whose governing body has no say in its day-to-day operations? First, I thought it to be simply a matter of convenience. Those creations which were deemed failures by the researchers of Elpis could be easily ushered into their new home. Imagine my surprise when a trip to the archives revealed that many of the creations were sent from organizations beyond Elpis, including the Words of La Habrea themselves. Given this, albeit limited information, I cannot but feel that the Academia Nider would have been a more fitting locale. What does Elpis have that cannot be found there? These are fitting questions, and ones we have asked ourselves many times in recent years. Alas, the nature of Pandæmonium's construction does not lend itself to relocation. First it was built, circumstances weren't as they are now. As you surmise, the majority of the creations kept within Pandæmonium were sent from Elpis. Yet as the years passed, interests changed. Failures in creations deemed too flawed even to submit to Elpis paradoxically drew the attention of Pandæmonium's researchers. That is quite the change, and in fact it almost runs counter to the facility's original purpose. Who is it that decides which creations will be subject of research? Master La Habrea. Such authority is reserved for the chief keyword, and he has taken it upon himself to step into that role. If Pandæmonium's resources were being misused, it would be under La Habrea's authority, correct? I know not what you're suggesting, but the key wards also hold some sway within the facility. Not even Master La Habrea would be free from their scrutiny. They are duty-bound to report any irregularities as soon as possible. Although I admit as of late their communication has been somewhat sporadic, we but recently received a report from one of the key wards stating that all is well within Pandæmonium's halls. Really? And you are certain that a key ward sent it? Yes, of course, our communication suffered a temporary obstruction, but I can assure you that the words did their due diligence in confirming the identity of the sender. Thank you. This information will be helpful to my investigation. That will be all for my prying. And I shall take my leave. While you are yet permitted to conduct your investigation freely, I must remind you that the warder's work is delicate, and it would be remiss to disturb them for longer than is necessary. All is well, a blatant lie, and to that we can both attest. One of the remaining key wards is most certainly in league with the party behind this. Let us hurry. I know not why our adversary sent that report, but 'tis plain that we must return to Pandæmonium with haste. All right, check my email. I cannot guess as to why this false report has arisen now, but it certainly bodes ill, as does the knowledge that our mysterious mastermind has at least one more key ward to puppet. Regardless, they have tipped their hand, and we would be remiss to leave Ericthonius at the mercy of their machinations. Let us hope no harm has befallen him. Not quite. I've traced these sigils countless times, yet still I lack the strength to maintain the spell. And now time works against me. I can no longer be a victim of my own ineptitude. What? Who goes there? Hey, there is something to be admired in such single-minded effort, even if your methods leave much to be desired. You allowed this familiar to catch you unawares. Have you set your sights so high as to forget you walk upon the earth? I know this creature, familiar of the Phoenix, but that monster is locked away. That it is, in spite of the trouble I went to in freeing it, I might add. Begrudge me for addressing you in this ill-fitting form if you must, but with control of Asphodelos wrested from my grasp, it is simply the best I can offer you. Hide if you will, but mark my words, I will find you and make you pay for the chaos you've sown. Now, there is no need for such hostility. A calm heart stays the course. The wisdom of La Habrea, your father. How would you know what wisdom he speaks? I've heard those words many times, the scolding of a tutor whose student struggled to grasp the most rudimentary lessons, seething with disgust. No. I've not told that to anyone, not even keyword Hesperos. That can only mean one thing. That you still insist on mocking me. Stop this farce, La Habrea. At last, you moved to keep up. Pity that you remain behind, nevertheless. What? As ever you are, always you fail to learn, fail to understand, fail to act. And though fate deigned to offer you an escape, you remain here. You are bereft of magical prowess and common sense both. But you need not despair. Dull though you may be, you are yet indispensable to Pandæmonium's great experiment. There's the affection I remember. Tell me, did I ever once measure up to your expectations? You shall take pride in that and rejoice to see your wish fulfilled. What wish? Come and all shall be revealed. All this rage, this hatred is but a consequence of ignorance. Our desires align more than you know. What are you? La Habrea. Uninvited guests join our reunion. It seems fortune no longer favors you. Do you think I have any interest in listening to your prattle, let alone bowing to your will? I am no longer a child, and my faith lies with those who have earned it. So these are the heroes who brought Hesperos low, even as power divine flowed through his veins. It is plain there are worthier subjects to contend with. Thank you. If you had shown up even a moment later, I shudder to think what would have become of me. It's something I must tell you. I know who's behind this. There is but one person who can hold thrall over familiar creation and keyword alike. Level 90, an unwelcome visitor, complete. Level 90, Mask of the Father. Ericthonius is certain he knows the identity of Pandæmonium's assailant. So there can be but one conclusion. La Habrea was the driving force behind this chaos from the start. There is logic to that. There are few with the wherewithal to even consider experimentation on such a scale, let alone the capacity to create demigods from man and beast, with the rest of us none the wiser. Considering the magnitude of his work with the Convocation and the Words, his relatively minor role as chief keyword comes under little scrutiny, even as it provides him the authority to wield dangerous magics that may serve as veil and mantle both. Still, I find the notion hard to accept. The misdeeds perpetrated here could not have been done by the La Habrea I know. You have met him, yes? Do you think he's capable of this? I mean, it's a title. It could be a different one, right? La Habrea is capable of far more than you know. Still too early to say for certain. If he's in charge, why would do all the subterfuge? It really is a puzzle with many missing pieces. Still, I see you do not deny outright the possibility that La Habrea is a man with few scruples. That alone should be enough, but let me assure you, La Habrea holds nothing so dear as his own ambition. While he may not be one to let emotion stand in the way of his mission, I cannot believe there are no depths to which he would not stoop. Though we met but briefly, the impression he left on me stands in stark contrast to your evaluation. Though his methods are ever unorthodox, they seem guided by firm understanding of what is just. There's one way to find out for certain. We delve deeper into Pandæmonium and pull back the curtain on this mystery ourselves. A wise course. I would not deny the truth if I saw it with mine own eyes, even if it was comforting to behold. We must move forward with no excessive caution. La Habrea, or whomever is behind this, has likely spread their tentacles into every corner of Pandæmonium. We can safely assume the other key wards won't greet us with open arms. Agreed, let us make our way through Abyssos one careful step at a time. I shall stay by Ericthonius' side in case our enemies think to target him again. Could I trouble you to take the vanguard? Thank you. As a precaution, I shall safeguard you with a simple spell. This will ensure that even should we become separated, my phantom warriors will still come to your aid. If it does come to battle, the key ward's magics will put us at a disadvantage once again. Luckily, we have you to even the scale somewhat. I trust you shall be liberal with your weight. Damn fat. Abyssos, the 5th circle, now accessible. New regular duty has been added to Duty Finder. Level 90, Abyssos, the 5th circle. While the identity of Pandæmonium's assailant is yet unknown, Ericthonius makes no effort to hide his doubts concerning La Habrea, who he suspects is using the infernal prison for private experimentation. As if to confirm the warder's suspicions, a familiar appears in the halls of Asphodelos, claiming to be none other than the chief key ward himself. The creature mocks you with cryptic warnings before vanishing, leaving naught but questions in its wake. Their answers beckon from the shadows of Abyssos, daring brave souls to seek them out. Level 90, Abyssos, the 5th circle. Come on. There we go. World Unsundered, Abyssos, the 5th circle. Mythic creation, Proto-Carbuncle. Wow. Carbuncle? See how mine does against you. They've already started, I believe. Okay. Okay, to sort of see what he's doing. What are we supposed to do with these? What are we supposed to be in? Okay, so far so good. Okay. He broke free. Okay, well, again, so far so good. Ooh. What do we do for those? Ends its hunt. Yay, okay, that went well. Sealed. Anybody left? Okay. I don't know what any of this equipment looks like. So this is where research is conducted on creations imbued with poisons and venoms. Erectonius and I were conveyed not far from here. It seems our foe is finding it more difficult to surprise us. Fortunately for you, since they appear particularly keen to see you dispatched as quickly as possible. Even alone, you are forced to be reckoned with. Part of me is glad you emerged victorious, that I might observe you further. Were the circumstances different, I might thank you for keeping my son alive for this long, but I believe we can forgo introductions unless I have misread you. The Habrea. I'm all too familiar, Paragon. Am I supposed to know who you are? He looks different, though. Passively perceptive. Yes, I am La Habrea of the Convocation of 14. You are truly who you claim to be, then answer this question. That can wait. Oh, what is this? Now this is curious. The trap I wove at your feet reacts to ether, but you remain unaffected. Such thin ether and an unfamiliar composition besides. It is of no matter, I suppose. A more direct approach will beget the same results. I would advise you to think carefully before deciding your next action. Strike me down here, and Erectonius' wish shall remain unfulfilled. Never again shall he meet Athena. Mother, you would dare hide behind her name? Listen well, Erectonius. We are of the same mind concerning your mother. You have your allies for protection, so what harm is there in hearing me out? Erectonius, wait. There's a question I must needs ask first. You truly are La Habrea. Why speak such blatant lies? Bitter in defeat, are we? Say my name. Simple request. Themis, was it? A trifle soon forgotten as you are. As are you. I have my answer. The La Habrea that I knew took pride in the convocation would never suffer its denigration. You sully his station with this farce. Themis, what are you saying? La Habrea and I hardly saw eye to eye, but I know his voice when I hear it. Indeed, he makes a passing fine imitation in appearance and manner. However, the real La Habrea would never call me by the name Themis. What trouble have you gotten yourself into, Elidibus? Abyss. Imposter, you have no right to claim that form, that mask. What? Who? It was a mask that sickened me to wear. Mask of La Habrea, a man whose values his position above all, who would murder his own wife in pursuit of duty. Yet you would assume my name and wield powers that are mine by right. Any worth you may have hinges on which you so despise. Such trite provocations, I will not be goaded into finishing this ere my work is done. Ericthonius, listen well, I am Hephaestus. And it is I whom you should call father. You kind of look alike. Same cheerful demeanor. But in the name of creation? We would do well not to stand idle while our enemy is about. I believe an explanation is in order, Elidibus. Let us return to safety so you may provide it. Now that sounds more like the La Habrea I know. Such devastation. Before we depart, however, I must offer you an apology. As La Habrea said, I am Elidibus, one of the convocation and emissary of their will. For reasons which do not involve you, it was necessary to hide my identity while investigating this place. Still, that hardly excuses my deception. I had a feeling. Whatever your name is, you're still Themis to me. I know a thing or two about deception myself. I had a feeling. Your perceptiveness does not surprise me. When the time comes, it shall make my explanation all the easier to understand. In any case, we have pressing matters to attend to. Let us do as La Habrea suggested and return to the gates. We can speak there. Please help him. Save him. As you are aware of by now, I am known as Elidibus. After my dear friend Azim and I detected irregularities in Pandæmonium, we decided the best course of action would be to hide my station as I conducted my investigation. I'm sure La Habrea is well as eager to find out why I hid who I was, so I shall save that story for later. First, I would like to speak of you, my friend. Although neither Azim nor I had ever met you in the flesh, you came with her highest recommendation. That alone was enough for me to accept you as an ally without question. That somewhere in the world a guiding star so similar to herself was out there amused Azim to no end. There was not a shade of doubt in her heart that you would be a formidable ally. Furthermore, I've heard stories that Mistress Vanah, who held the position of Azim previously, journeyed with a familiar much like yourself, and made the decision to trust you all the easier. She too now dons the white robes of an advisor. If she placed her absolute faith in you, I knew I would be in capable hands. Where though I was of the path you had walked, I had no interest in exposing you. I merely wanted to meet you, to travel by your side for a while. I may know but a small portion of your whole story, but that is enough for me to believe you would never lead me astray. I wanted to tell you that. Level 90, Mask of the Father. Complete. Level 90, a keyword's jail. Ericthonius is resolutely avoiding his father's eye. I don't know how long it's been since we last spoke, La Habrea, and truth be told, I had hoped we never would again. But I see now that I was a fool to think I would ever escape your meddling. Just what is that thing that called himself La Habrea, and why is he spitting image of your younger self? I find it hard to believe you've only just now found out such a being was wreaking havoc in Pandæmonium. Did you think matters would simply sort themselves out? I suppose you deserve at least a cursory explanation. I was well aware of the anomalies occurring within Pandæmonium, including the fact that Azim and Elidibus had taken it upon themselves to investigate. I saw no reason to insert myself into the situation. For a time, that was... Imagine my surprise when, instead of formal report from you and yours, I received a communication from one of the key wards stating that research and operations were proceeding as usual. While Hephaestus' deception was almost childish in its simplicity, it became plain to me that your grasp on the situation was slipping. So you knew of his existence from the beginning. I can hardly imagine that you would suffer another to masquerade as one of the convocation, not without good reason at least. As you well know, the name La Habrea is but a marker of my station. 'Tis not the name I was born with. Hephaestus has claimed that for himself. I cannot fault him for it, as he is my other half, in a manner of speaking. He knows all that I know, my equal in every way, yet within his heart is naught but greed, envy, and desire, all the emotions that we are loath to acknowledge within ourselves. If what you say is true, what purpose would such a being serve? He is the product of experimentation gone awry, a reminder of the days when I was yet young and reckless. I thought him sealed away for good, but it seems time has a way of unearthing the shame we bury. When he spoke of my mother, he looked at you with venom in his eyes, blamed you for her death. Tell me, was he right to do so? His words were but the ramblings of a tortured mind. The hatred and despair he endures has warped his view of the world irreparably. And now that he has awakened, he must be put to rest. If he succeeds in breaching Pandæmonium's protective wards, he shall invite disaster unto our star. Chief Keyword of Pandæmonium, it is my duty to decide the proper course of action. As such, I declare that all research shall be summarily abandoned and the facility destroyed. What, you would leave the other warders to their doom? It is a choice befitting La Habrea. Do you disagree? You speak of duty, and ours is to guide our star and its inhabitants upon the correct course. It is no surprise that you would choose annihilation of Pandæmonium if its existence posed even the remotest risk to our people. As you can see by Ericthonius' response, the decision is somewhat more nuanced than that. Azim and I grappled with this conundrum for some time, in fact. That is precisely why I chose to involve myself directly. It was the only way I could truly determine the best solution. And you need not trouble yourself with that further. The Chief Keyword must prevent the worst from occurring, no matter the cost. Your feelings, Elidibus, are of no consequence. Have you taken even a moment to consider another path? No. You spared nary a thought for aught but yourself and your duty. You have no idea of the trials we've endured, the foes that Zilia stood against. Zilia, is it? A being of such ether as I have never seen. What are you? She is the guiding star that shall lead us safely through this. Thanks to her stout arm and steadfast courage, we have subdued the mythic creations and returned them to their selves. Speaking of which, I would hear your opinion. As outsiders, we are in a unique position to look upon circumstances with our vision unclouded by attachment. Too soon to give up on saving the others. La Habrea can't be trusted. What was that you said about being an emissary? Soon to give up. Gotta unlock them all. Agreed, we still know next to nothing about Hephaestus, and I highly doubt La Habrea has been forthcoming with the truth. But we've managed to regain control of Asphodelos. He must be made to see that there is merit in continuing on this path. I have it. Speak in your official capacity as Elidibus the emissary. Judge which approach is more sound, and even La Habrea would be compelled to listen. As Elidibus, I am duty-bound to assess the matter from a position of impartiality. My opinion as Themis can carry no weight. You understand what that means, yes? I do. Even so, you've walked with us all this time, seen what we've seen. Based on that alone, I trust that you'll find the best way forward. Very well, then in my capacity as emissary, I shall state my judgment. At present, there are merits both in destroying Pandæmonium outright and in taking time to rescue its researchers, and neither is yet an impossible task. Therefore, I judge that the most measured choice would be to continue upon our present course. We delve into Abyssos, interring any mythic creations we encounter along the way. You have yet to witness Illy's might and Erichthonius' resolve. I would ask that you see our capabilities firsthand and only then decide if our endeavor is futile. If such is the will of the emissary, then I shall obey. However, if indeed I find your strength to be lacking, I trust there will be no objections to the immediate destruction of Pandæmonium. You needn't worry about that. We won't fail. You are bolder than I remember. And you're even more tedious than I remember. Zilly, come find me when you're finished. Erichthonius is understandably frustrated, but if we are to conquer Abyssos, we must go forth with clear heads. Pray lend an ear to his troubles, that their weight might be lightened. You do have my gratitude, ill-fit as I am to show it at the moment. Without your words to sway him, La Habrea would have carried out his plan without a second thought. When at first we realized the creations had slipped their bonds, the other key wards did all in their power to restore order. Even though they could have chosen escape, they remained to aid their allies. Certain not a soul among them would wish to see this facility erased from the world, and they don't deserve to be abandoned simply for carrying out their duty. And besides, Hephaestus has secrets yet untold, secrets that would be buried if Pandæmonium were reduced to rubble. I mean to uncover the truth behind his words, the truth of my mother. While La Habrea was quick to dismiss his claims, I failed to see what Hephaestus would gain by fabricating such a story. All I was told of my mother's death was that she perished in an accident. No one would say more. It was almost as if they feared saying more, in fact. Even if it was not La Habrea that dealt the fatal blow, we've seen with our own eyes how quickly he can condemn others to die. I only wish to know at last what befell her. What do you think? Does La Habrea have any regard for the lives of others, or will he carry out his duty with another's blood on his hands? He always was a man who worked from the shadows. He once used my ally as a vessel for his own twisted ends. I have no idea what he might be like in this age. This age? Just how long has it been since you last met? Regardless, I'd like you to try and view him as he is now. Another opinion would be much appreciated. But it is plain there's much to consider. Thank you. It's easy for me to get carried away by emotion where he's concerned. We should focus on the task at hand, proving to La Habrea that we are capable of saving Pandæmonium and its keepers. The most convincing way to do that will be to regain control of Abyssos. Although I'm loath to admit it, he would know more about those depths than any of us, and seeing as how we require every advantage we can afford. If you speak to him for us, he seems to have special interest in your capabilities, and may deign to help at your suggestion, if only to see what you can do. They have to put them so far apart. Is it significant of symbolic of the distance between them? Ericthonius appears to have a deep trust in you, and Elidibus tells me you share some relation to Azim. Your unusual ether does not mark you as a familiar. It is unlike anything I have seen, even among the countless concepts I have observed. To think I would encounter an existence I could not create by my own hand, Azim never ceases to surprise. The previous Azim was much the same, and taking the entirety of the star into consideration, she came to hold dear emotions and people that a more logical mind would have discarded. This made her act in her own self-interest more often than not. Just as you and Elidibus have conducted yourselves in this matter, the true danger of Azim's nature is its tendency to infect all those she comes into contact with. Emitselk said much the same. Trust that I shall do naught of that would violate my duty. Yet you so frivolously invoked your authority as emissary to justify this little excursion. It matters little, however, only your deeds can speak for you now. You wish to know more of Abyssos, I take it? Although I no longer have control over many of its functions, I can yet sense what creations lie within. Chief Keyword's reach is far indeed. Well then, what do we have to look forward to? I sense no creations of note. Perhaps they have been made into fodder for experimentation, or perhaps they have been transferred to the deeper circles. Yet Hephaestus would never allow you safe passage. He has left a trial for you to overcome. I speak of Hegemon, keyword of Abyssos. Although her presence is stained with marks of corruption, it is unmistakable. I knew her as a woman gifted in magic and blessed with highly logical mind. While I can sense those qualities within her still, there is something else at work. If I had to hazard a guess, I would say that's because she's already been twisted into Hematheos, doubtless against her will. Silly, then we must rescue her from that cruel fate. If we cannot, we can at least seal her away until we find a means to undo the damage. Your allies make you bold, Ericthonius. I very much look forward to seeing how far they carry you. Abyssos, the sixth circle now accessible. Duty Finder has been updated with a new regular duty. Level 90, Abyssos, the sixth circle. La Habrea insists that only way to save the star from the horrors lurking within Pandæmonium is summary destruction. However, Themis and Ericthonia succeed in convincing the chief keyword to allow you the chance to prove the worth of another way. You are tasked with interring Hegemon, the keyword of Abyssos and a master of creation magics in her own right. Succeed in this, and you may continue your journey into the facility's deeper circles. Fail, and Pandæmonium, along with its warders and creations, shall be reduced to nothing. Level 90, Abyssos, the sixth circle. Commence. Yeah. World Unsundered, Abyssos, the sixth circle. And some sort of mechanic. Hematheos, Hegemon. Fought from the inside out. What are we supposed to do with these? Distance. Okay, what am I supposed to do with Parasite? Is it like Excel Bomb? No, I'm supposed to turn away. Okay, I get it. See a dice countdown. I think Excel Bomb. Too much BA. More like the M to pour hard. So we know which ones to get in. Oh, not that one, huh? Okay, where do you start? There. Okay. We turn away again. Oh no, I'm like right in the middle of his thing. Oh, just die already. Dark 4. Okay, so that's like raid wide. Okay, so what the hell do we do for this? Do we all have to be on different ones? Okay, all in all, that went all right. Dun, 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 dun. Hi, snake plant lady. Shield. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, everybody left. We've won. The keyword is sealed away and alive this time. La Brea can't deny us now. Level 90, a keyword's jail. Complete.